I'm Gabe Henderson. He's Ben Leber. We're doing a content series breaking down position by position on the current Vikings roster. I ask the questions, Ben gives logical answers. And Leber, when you look at this defensive end slash pass rushers position group for the Vikings, historically, this has been a group that has seen a lot of success. A couple of guys that come to mind, Chris Dolman, Jared Allen, Jim Marshall, Carl Eller. Do we have a guy? Do we have a group like those guys? Do we have any like future Hall of Famers like those guys in this current group?
Well, I mean, Daniil Hunters on a fast track right now to be one of the greats. I mean, it's an incredible story. You know, he had just marginal sacks at LSU, and everybody just talked about, well, you look at his physique, and on paper he looks like he should be this phenomenal pass rusher with these long arms, his lean body, and his quickness off the line. But he didn't really show much in college, and they're like, all right, who is this guy? And then all of a sudden he gets with Patterson, and you start learning about his note-taking ability and his ability to process things and understand technique and really take everything in from any teacher that would come in. And he was an avid film watcher, and all of a sudden now he's on a Hall of Fame track, and you're like, and I think he's everybody's favorite player on defense.
All right, so I was playing franchise mode in Madden to get to know some of the players better, and on defense I use the linebacker position, and of course Daniil Hunter is the starting defensive end on the Vikings. But I fast forwarded through the season, I simulated the season and looked at the stats at the end, and Daniil Hunter finished the season with 21 sacks. Is it possible though? Because I'm like, all right, he has the fearmonger tag on Madden, but he's a fearmonger in real life also. Is it possible for Daniil Hunter to have, video game stats in real life this year?
It's very possible. I think we're all expecting a position change for him. If Everson Griffen doesn't resign and come back, then I think Daniil will move over to his spot as a right defensive end, which obviously means you're going against, the best offensive lineman on the offense for every team in the left tackle. He's played that position before, when Everson was out, and he played really, really well. And you talk to Andre Patterson, and he says that he's actually more of a natural right defensive end than a left defensive end. So he can do it. Now, there could be an excuse that maybe his numbers go down a little bit just because of that position change. But here's the thing. You think that this offense is going to be better? I think so. You think this offense is going to put up some points? I think so. Pass rushers get most of their sacks when their team's winning in the second half. And so, I think that if this offense, and we think it's going to take another step. We think Kirk's going to take another step. We think there's going to be more points on the board. That now there's more opportunities for him and for everybody else as pass rushers to get after the quarterback. So it's not crazy and out of line to think that he could have Madden-like stats this year because he keeps getting better every single year. And I'm not going to say that he's going to have a down year. I think he's going to continue to improve, and I think he could get up to 20 sacks this year.
And moving forward, you sign guys like Kenny Willekes and DJ Wanham to fill some of those voids of Everson Griffen if he doesn't come back, and then Stephen Weatherly. But ultimately, how much can you put on two rookies to immediately fill those two veterans who made big plays last year?
Well, unfortunately, you're going to have to. You look at the roster, and you bring in Eddie Yarbrough. Eddie didn't play a lot, right? He has one career sack. He's probably more of a run down defensive end, a first and second down guy. You bring in Michael Pierce on the inside. He's an inside guy. He's a run stuffer. Anthony Zettel, he's more of a run stuffer. He's not really a pass rusher. So you start to pare it down, and you're going to have to ask those young guys to step up. Hercules Mataafa, I loved him out of Washington State, but he didn't really show as much as I thought he would show in his pass rushing opportunities. And so there is going to be opportunities for these young guys to be impactful. And quite frankly, they have to be. You have to put pressure on these guys to step up. Wanham is a guy who's a standard 3-4 outside linebacker at South Carolina. He's going to have to put his hand on the ground a little bit. Maybe he does become a little bit more dynamic with his hand in the ground. And you're gonna have to ask his big 6'5" frame to be that type of Daniil Hunter as a rookie. Mm-hmm. Willikis, we all love his story. He's a walk-on guy from Michigan State. Tremendously athletic, but he's a leaner 6'3", 260-pound guy. He's got to beat you with speed off the line. He doesn't have tremendously long arms, but he knows how to get after the quarterback. He knows how to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. 49 tackle for loss in his career at Michigan State. That's crazy good. The guy knows how to get across the line of scrimmage. So unfortunately, as a rookie, and those two rookies, those guys right there, they have to step up. They don't have a choice. We need them.
A guy that people aren't talking about right now is Ifeadi Odenigbo. He had 7 sacks last season. That's no easy task.
No, it's no easy task, and he's another one of these development guys that Andre Patterson has taken and really made them a high-end NFL player.
They scrimmage from the right hash mark, and Phillip Rivers with the bolt on his helmet. Back to pass. He dropped the ball. It's about to be picked up by a Viking, bouncing around. Ifeadi Odenigbo has it. He's to the 50, to the 40. Ifeadi Odenigbo is loose. Touchdown! 56-yard defensive touchdown by Ifeadi Odenigbo.
Now, the question I have, though, is if you move Daniil to the right defensive end, Odenigbo then becomes the left defensive end, he's going to be playing a lot more snaps. It's much easier as a role player if you tell this guy, hey, we're going to give you 20, 25 snaps on just third down, just sub packages, just to get after the passer. You can watch and learn from the sideline, you can conserve energy, and you can go out there and be explosive. What's going to happen now when he's the starter? He's got to play against the run on first and second down. It takes a lot out of you to battle against those big offensive linemen. And then they say, oh, by the way, now on third down, we need you to be that pass rushing beast. Can he be that guy for 60 snaps now, 65 snaps, 70 snaps in a game? That's going to be a big challenge for him. And yes, it's more opportunity, but it's also an ability for your body to get beat down a little bit. So conditioning is going to be a big thing for him, but I'm excited about his ability.
Wrapping up this group of guys, you still have guys like Eddie Yarborough, Anthony Zetto, Stacey Keeley. These 3 guys are competing for a spot on defense also. Out of these 3 guys, though, is there one person that comes to mind that Vikings fans should keep their eye on?
Well, I really like James Lynch out of Baylor. He's a guy that was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he played out of position. In my opinion, I think he played out of position in Baylor's 3-4 defense. I don't want to get too technical, but he played a 5 technique, which is a little bit more of a defensive end and a 3-4. I think he's going to be more of a 3 technique for the Vikings in their standard 4-3 look. And I think by moving his body to the inside and playing against more offensive guards, I think that's going to benefit him tremendously. He's a shorter guy, so going against offensive tackles probably wasn't his thing. And he was still productive enough to be the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. I think moving him to the inside, showing his quickness, his unbelievable strength. I mean, he has crazy strength that makes he moves people around, in which you watch on film, you're like, how did he just move that 300-pound guy like nothing? He's tremendously strong, plays with great leverage. I think he's really going to benefit from playing on the inside, and I think that's a guy that you have to watch out for.
Lastly, Andre Patterson has to be happy about this group of guys. He has the guy that he developed, Daniille Hunter, and then you have another guy that he wanted, and DJ Wanham. So this has to be a group that he has to be excited to coach this upcoming season.
Well, I think he has to, because he's got a great challenge. And I think, like we just said earlier, as a young group, a group of rookies that have to come in and be productive, I think he's going to take on that challenge and accept it 100%. His biggest attributes are player development. He takes guys, and he's known for taking guys and molding them. Finding somebody that is raw and all of a sudden making them into Pro Bowl players, potentially Hall of Fame players. So I think he's chomping at the bit right now to take these little balls of clay and mold them into these NFL players, and not just productive NFL players, but high level NFL players.
Well, we're going to keep chomping at the bit, get into more of these position by position breakdowns. Vikings fans, make sure you stay tuned to Vikings.com for more Vikings updates. Thank you, Ben.
See you, Gabe.